Well, a video that might spark a lot of controversy by the end of this. But hello, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. And a topic that's been widely discussed over the last few weeks and for this whole season, if I may add, is Mason Mount and his new contract or his future at Chelsea, or whether he's got the potential of Frank Lampard or Timo Bakayoko, and why he isn't performing as well as he did in that Champions League winning season. And firstly, I need to say, relax, chill out. I think everyone's just getting too hyper with Mason Mount. And when it comes to Mount, I feel like both his haters go off on a very huge tangent and say a lot of things that don't need to be said. And at the same time, people who defend Mason Mount say a lot of things that they shouldn't be saying, or they're oversensitive with Mount. And especially when it comes to Mount, I've not seen fans protect any other player at Chelsea the way fans try and protect Mason Mount. No wonder he's an incredible talent. He's been here since the academy days, and yes, he's got the actual connection with Chelsea, unlike a lot of the other players who might have been brought into Chelsea, other than Reece James and a few other academy players in the squad at the moment. But I just feel like those kind of tweets on Twitter and those shares on Instagram and those kind of posts made throughout social media just are very unnecessary when it comes to Mason Mount, because firstly, you got to understand that he's been playing out of his actual position. If you look at his stats as a midfielder compared to his stats as an attacker, which he's been playing under Graham Potter, they are insanely different. They are insanely, as a midfielder, he's better than anyone else in midfield, almost in the 95th percentile of midfielders when it comes to scoring goals, assisting, creating chances, progressive passing, or any type of passing made. Mason Mount is in the top 5% of players in the Premier League itself. So it says a lot. And then compare it to Mason Mount in attack, that's probably in the top 50 or the bottom 50, if you want to say it that way. So when it comes to Mount, I just feel like people need to take a step back and realize this is a player who's played under 3 managers now. He was brought in under Frank Lampard, played incredibly well, and I think in that time he was one of the best players in the squad, and then followed by Thomas Tuchel coming in, and that Champions League run that we had due to Mount, that goal against Real Madrid and the emotions he showed throughout the season itself with Chelsea. I think it was pretty clear that he was Chelsea through and through, and he could do anything and he would do anything to be at Chelsea, and the way he was playing. And considering how he continued his form throughout Tuchel's kind of bad time as well before he got sacked was I guess nice to see, since he was kind of the hope for Chelsea when it came in midfield, after you've got Jorginho, who couldn't run, and Kante, who was injured most of the time, with Kovacic and Gallagher nowhere to be found in terms of passes or trying to hold down the midfield itself. But under Graham Potter, he's been playing as a front 3 more often than not, and he's been struggling, and that's pretty much very clear to say. And whether it's because, yes, he's been creating those chances, but because Havertz or any of our other attackers aren't able to finish them, that's a different story. But I just feel like his natural position is an 8. He's said it quite a few times in his interviews as well, that he prefers to just completely be playing a number 8 kind of role, and that's not what he's been getting, neither at Chelsea, neither at England as well. In the World Cup as well, we didn't see a lot of Mason Mount because of the lack of performances that he had for Chelsea prior to going to the World Cup. Following that, I just feel like he's had so many games. I can't remember the last time Mason Mount actually took time off, or he was missing for a few games because of injury, firstly, which I God hope that doesn't happen, because I've seen a lot of players like Callum Hudson-Odoi, sadly, I guess you could say career-ending injuries kind of situations for Callum Hudson-Odoi, or Loftus-Cheek maybe as well, if you're going to put him in there. But he hasn't missed a lot of games because of injuries. He hasn't missed any games because of suspension, nothing to do with illnesses, which is nice to see, which means that he's got such a long future ahead of him. But at the same time, it means that he's been the kind of player Chelsea have been relying on, as I mentioned. And that just puts it on and on and on again and again, that in the end, the fatigue, whether it's just physically or mentally, just gets to you. And I think right now what he needs, especially in this international break kind of thing, is to just take a step back, ignore football, ignore the comments being made, just recharge, I guess, for now, is what I'm saying, and then come back. Because I know the talent Mason Mount has is insane, and he could be the next Lampard, if not better than Lampard. And I know I might put myself under a lot of scrutiny for saying something like this, and Lampard being a legend at Chelsea, but I just feel like he's got what it takes to become one of the greats at Chelsea, alongside Reece James, alongside maybe Thiago Silva. Yes, he might not be as big as the other legends, but you know, whatever he's achieved over the last few seasons at Chelsea has been incredible to see in the work rate he's put in. So with Mason Mount, it just goes the same way, that he's got the potential, he's got the ability to do it, he just needs a break, he's going to come back, and there is no doubt in that. And when you put Mudryk in attack with the pace that he's got, with the passes Mason Mount can make, you kind of have that Haaland and De Bruyne situation at Man City. And then Hakim Ziyech is coming back to form as well. So it's a lot to do with other players as well. And there's just no point singling out Mount when we're losing 2-1 to Fulham, getting red cards left, right and centre. We're losing games that we shouldn't be losing, or at least drawing at the same time. But there's a lot that people have been saying, and I must say, I have to have a go at get the fans who try and defend Mason Mount as well. There's no hiding the fact that he's been kind of the poster boy for Chelsea over the last few years, and fans have just kind of protected him a lot more than any other player at the club so far, I must say. I think outright, when Jorginho, when Kante, when Kovacic, when any of our other players have an awful performance, fans are the first ones to go on Twitter, go on social media and bash out on them and say, well, Jorginho can't run, Kovacic can't make a single pass, the amount of dispossessions Kovacic has had this game, this and that, so on and so forth. I'm just giving examples right now. But when it comes to Mason Mount, whatever happens in that performance, fans will always just say, oh, he's going to come back, he's going to come back, he's going to come back. And if they see someone else criticizing Mason Mount the same way a lot of people criticize Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante, there's a lot of wars that happen on Twitter. And I must say, there's Miz, who uploaded that video, maybe that tweet, the timing wasn't right, maybe the words of those tweets weren't right, but I know this guy doesn't hate Mount at all. This guy is just trying to point out that Mount gets away with a lot of things that Jorginho or any other midfielders or any other players at the club might not be able to get away with. And I just feel like people having a go at him for just voicing his own opinion just doesn't make any sense. Just let him have his say, because I think honestly that Liverpool performance, considering Liverpool didn't have a midfield to play with, or their midfield was basically non-existent, considering ours was non-existent as well. But Mason Mount should have had a good game in that kind of scenario. When you've got Mudryk up front, you've got Ziyech who's been performing well, and you've got the support of your wing backs, you just expect Mount to do a bit better. But as I said, he was playing an attacking role, and that's something that he hasn't been able to kind of crack out this whole time, and has been really struggling with. So I'm going to look forward to hopefully seeing him back after the international break. Hopefully Chelsea come back after the international break. I'm really excited to see a few games at Stamford Bridge, so I'm going to try and sort some of that out for you guys and try and vlog it as well if it's possible. But for now, that's all. Let us know what your thoughts are on Mason Mount, whether you think he's going to get a new contract or not, because realistically, I just think he's on 75,000. Obviously, he's going to get a raise, but with the new transfer policy or the new salary policy Chelsea have got, I don't think he's going to get anything more than 120k or maybe 100k if he's very lucky, because Mudryk is on a 97k per week kind of situation. But considering he's got us the Champions League, he's been performing well, 100k, 120k is something that I'm kind of expecting for him. Let us know what your thoughts are and your expectations are for Mount. Let us know what your thoughts are in this video. Thank you for all of your support over all of our social media pages. I must say that before I end this video. Leave a like rating, follow us, and push the notification bell to get the latest news on Chelsea FC daily on your screen, on either a short format, a podcast, or these kind of videos that I do specifically on each of the players or a topic that I pick out depending on your comments. Let us know what your thoughts are and follow us for movies like this. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, stay safe.